there, and welcome to the Animag podcast.
Hey, and welcome back to Animag, the #1 anime podcast in the galaxy, baby. It's true. And I'm your host, Asylum, sitting here with
Domicus.
And we're back to reviewing some Orange. This is going to be episode 8 of the show that we're reviewing, and this is episode 13 of our podcast. Pretty good episode.
It was, even though there was only like a little bit that was major.
Yeah, just maybe like 2 to 3 real notable and important moments, but I'll tell you what really did it in for me. The bitch was not in it.
That's true. The bench was, but not the bitch.
The bench was there, but not the bitch. It just makes for a more enjoyable episode when you don't have to see her bullshit.
Oh, don't worry. We're going to probably see her later.
Oh, yeah. She's definitely coming. I know that there's no way when Azu bitched her out in the hallway and Takako, there's no way that that was the end of Wada. No fucking way. Her bitch ass will come scratching back. So I thought that this episode did a pretty good job of kind of setting up what is going to wind up being the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get a lot of action or anything in that. You do learn one big important piece of the puzzle here. And again, that kind of all falls into setting it up for the big finale. It was something that I speculated on. And I think I may have mentioned it a couple of times in a past episode where I thought everyone had a fucking letter. And guess what? That's true. Everybody in this goddamn group has a letter from their future self, and nobody dared to mention it to their friends. They're just like, let me keep this quiet and see how everyone else is going to act about this. So right off the bat, this is, I want to say right before intro roll, we learn that Kakeru canceled his plans with his Tokyo friends. Now this is a big deal if you remember the last episode, because remember the letter said he hung out with his Tokyo friends and then he, killed himself.
Almost committed suicide.
So him calling off his Tokyo hangout with his friends was good, and he said instead he'd rather hang out with Suwa. Fantastic.
I like that.
Naho and Suwa did something good and kind of changed the path of the letter, which in this episode, a lot of conversation happens about the letter and its structure and is it even correct anymore. Seems like they're getting a little confused as to what's going right and what's actually changing. And pretty much by the end of it all, Naho's just going to basically say fuck the letter. But we'll dive into that when we get there.
Oh, yeah. Well, so, what's today's Animag advice?
Oh, I got some official Animag advice, but we got a few other things to talk about before we get there. But it's not far. It's not
And
far,
also,
guys.
be sure to hit that link
Down
on the
below.
website to get you some more, baby.
Your boys are sponsored.
We forgot to say that last episode.
In the last episode, we forgot to mention it. We talked about it in episode 10, but I didn't put the link. So you go to animag.org. In the sidebar, down below, you'll see our sponsored section. Click the snake. That's small, baby. We got a couple more coming. We got Dubby and Alti. Both of those, we have a code, though. It's not a link. So if you go to any of those websites, use code Animag at checkout. And I actually don't know what it gives you. Might give you like 10% off, 20% off. Who knows? It helps us. You buy with Mall, we're going to get money. So buy with Mall.
Oh, and also, Malt is doing something where if you buy one tub, you get one free.
Buy one, get one free, baby. You're going to be up for weeks.
Hell yeah. Oh, and if you're wondering what flavor you should go with, I would say Blue Buzz.
I find for like a lot of these drinks, any of the blue ones are always good. I haven't come across a bad blue one yet. So after the intro roll, it starts off with Takako and Azu straight up asking Naho if there's something she's hiding from them again. And then she confesses that she wound up telling Kakeru how she felt. And Azu says, congrats, you got yourself your first boyfriend. And then Naho in her head is like, we never said anything about becoming boyfriend and girlfriend. And that's going to come back into play later when we see Kakeru in the hospital, because this dude fucking passes out at a soccer practice.
Yep, which is like thinking, oh shit, is he trying to commit suicide by not eating?
Yeah, did he starve to death on the soccer field in the middle of practice?
Naho hasn't made any of Kakeru's lunches, so that could be
true.
Why.
She did cut that out. And I'm going to say that in this episode, Azu and Takako really started to get annoying with the whole, like, is there anything else you want to tell us? Is there anything that you're hiding from us? And it's all because they had a letter too, and I guess that they were really trying to probe for that information.
Yeah.
After the whole boyfriend thing, Takako's still kind of like, well, you sure there's nothing else? And then right here on my notes, I'm like, does she have a letter also? Question mark. And guess what? The bitch did. Right before Naho can say anything, because I think right here she might have come clean if she had enough time. This is where we see Kakeru face down around in the soccer field. And then he's in the hospital, just claims that he got dizzy, like no big deal, right? Dude, that heat'll do it to you. And then Azu says that he needs to be more careful so he does not worry his girlfriend. And Kakeru's like, what do you mean girlfriend? He goes, Naho's not my girlfriend, right in front of her. Bro,
Damn.
Break that girl's heart, huh? And then he goes into like this big rant and he's like, I just want to have fun while we're being friends. Because if we dated, he's afraid that he would wind up hurting her feelings. But then after he says all this, right, he literally says, but I really do love you to Naho. Let me tell you guys some official Animag advice right here. That is the #1 way to hurt feelings. If you're just gonna screw around and have a little fun, don't have feelings, okay?
Yep.
Don't be trying to have a one-night stand with a random club hookup and telling this girl you love her the next day. Feelings will get hurt. Facts.
Well, not with the hookup situation with the stripper.
I mean, there's some strippers that you can love. What are you saying? You can't love strippers? They're people too.
No, that's when they get your ass and they're like, oh, he's going to be coming around again, throwing some money. So I do not recommend that. Do not waste any money on a chick that you love.
Let me tell you a little secret. I love all the strippers. Official Animag advice. They are nice ladies.
Now, if it's a best friend, I would agree, but not to a freaking stripper.
Bro, why not? This is all like happening in the hospital too, by the way, to jump back on track. And Naho's also a little worried about dating because she said she's afraid if they date that the future might change even more and that they might not be able to save him. Didn't in a previous episode they mentioned that the future couldn't change? I think they got into it a little bit in this episode. I might have taken some notes on it, but I remember them saying in a past episode that the future could not be changed at all. Only the future of the present.
Talking about the teacher? Like,
yeah,
it would make its own parallel world.
I think that's what they were trying to say here, just wasn't super clear. Like, the future that won't be able to be changed is in a parallel universe, but the future that's here in the present day that will come shortly can be changed, I guess. Again, that goes back to like the one thing I'm really gonna knock this show for, is just not being clear on stuff like that. You really have to have a deep understanding for it, because if you just rely on the show, you're gonna be a little confused.
Yeah.
And then after this, guess where Naho and Suwa are sitting? On a bench.
Here we go.
And Suwa's he's starting to get a little deep right here because he's talking to Naho and he's asking if his letters were even accurate because he couldn't go through with what he needed to do for it. Then he says that there must be a whole new future, but just in their world. So that's what I was saying, where right here, if you take that into a special context, it'll help you understand that parallel universe thing.
Yeah.
The future's changing, but only in their universe. The parallel universe where the letters came from can't be changed, is how I'm kind of figuring this out in my head.
But I think what Naho wants to do is save Kakeru in their time and in the future.
I think so also, but I don't think she can save him in the parallel future. She can only save him in her current future.
Yeah.
In present day. So, I don't know. It's a little scuffed in that aspect. Hopefully that ends up getting cleaned up towards the end, but we're kind of bucking the end of the show. We got 5 episodes left, so they better start doing some work.
We all know that you're all hyped up for freaking Rent-A-Girlfriend.
I mean, honestly, at this point, yeah, I could kind of give a shit less about Orange, but we're here to do a job, so we might as well fucking do it. That way, it's out the way and it's done, and everyone said this is Animag's rating. Let's hop into Rent-A-Girlfriend. After the little bench scene, I mean, that's really all they talked about on it. It's them at like a PE class or some shit, and Kakeru gets picked to run in a relay race. And the letter ends up saying, yeah, as the anchor of a relay race. The letter, Naho's kind of thinking about the letter, and it said, for his sake, do something so he's no longer a member of the relay team. And the letter said that he had been stressing it, and that's why it wanted him to be taken away from the team. But when Suwa and Naho start to try to get Kakeru uninterested in doing it, he said he was actually excited to run. Is this sort of like proof that the future is starting to change, where the letter is currently not accurate?
I think so. The future self, he went meet up with some Tokyo friends, and that's probably what made him like not so excited.
I mean, he tried to kill himself because of the Tokyo friends.
Yeah, true.
This relay race didn't happen in the future because he was in the hospital. Maybe that's why the letter's inaccurate. Holy fuck. Did we just crack that? Because in the future it said he went immediately to the hospital and missed like 13 days of school. So he would have never in the future, parallel universe future, he would have never even gotten picked to run in the race. Maybe that's why the letters aren't accurate. Oh, look at us, bro. Big brains.
Maybe.
That's actually kind of a good way to think about it. I think we're right there. I don't know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Maybe. And then like Suwa's still trying to do what the letter says because he believes in the letters and he's a good guy. So he pulls the whole, yeah, but you passed out at soccer practice, so maybe you shouldn't run. And it actually works. Kakeru's like, yeah, I guess you're right. So Suwa in turn is going to wind up taking Kakeru's place for the race, even though he really doesn't want to. And Takako and Azu catch Suwa while he's walking to the class or something. I think he's headed to class here, and they're by the stairs. And they ask Suwa if he's hiding something from them about Kakeru. This whole episode, those two girls are just trying to fucking get somebody to, not annoy, but they're just trying to get somebody else from the group to say, yeah, I have a fucking letter from my future self. And then right here, when they're all in class, Kakeru stops the class and he says he doesn't want to be the anchor in the relay anymore. This is because of what, you know, Suwa convinced him of earlier. And Takako says he'll do it. And then Azu stands up and she's like, well, I want to be in the race. And then Suwa says, you know, I'll take Kakeru's place, but I'd prefer if he ran with us. This is the part where I got a little confused because now Suwa's kind of going back on what the letter asked him to do. The letter asked him to get Kakeru out the race, but now in the classroom, Suwa's like, I'll take his place, but I want him to stay in the race. Very confusing.
It is.
Then Naho gets up and she's like, oh, you know, I want to run in the race also. Everybody from the gang's pretty much like, yeah, we'll join the fucking race except for Hagita. Azu's looking at him and she's like, and he's just fucking sitting there all annoyed and she's like, Hagita! Finally, he's like, I guess I'll fucking do it.
I like him.
I just like his don't give a shit attitude. And right here, Naho goes, I chose a different path from the letter, but I think it'll be okay. And like, this is kind of sketch to me, bro. Stay on track for what the letter's asking you.
Yeah, don't go on your own path, because what if you go on your own path and bam, commit suicide?
Oh my god, bro. And then after class, when they're all home, we see Naho and Suwa talking on the phone, and Suwa says that she always carries the letter around with her, but that it was time to put it away. And she puts it in her drawer and closes it. So like, is she just not gonna be referencing the fucking letter anymore? I think that that's a dangerous move. You need to study this letter and understand it, because like, you're trying to keep this guy from killing himself.
Yeah. And then we see Suwa's mom like walk in, and then Suwa's trying to shoot her.
She's like, who is that? Is it Naho? And he's like trying to close the door on her. That's funny.
That reminds me of when I was back in high school. It's like you're talking to a girl on the phone and your mom is just like, oh, so who's that on the phone? Or your sister or whatever.
Dude, we didn't have cell phones back in my day, so it was just a house phone, and then they could pick up the other phone and like chime in, and then they'd hear they think you're talking to your homie, but then they hear a girl's voice, and the next day it was like, who was that girl?
Who you in love with?
Ooh, nobody Mom. Gross. The strippers. I am in love with the strippers.
And apparently Chizuru.
And Chizuru, but you know. So the next day, we see Hagita practicing his running skills, and he's absolutely shit. Probably why he didn't want to be in the race in the first place. And they are just like ragging this guy's ass. They're like, Hagita, you were fucking trash, dude. Slowest guy in our fucking school, basically. Like, really kick a man when he's down. He already knows he can't run.
He's trying his best, man.
He's trying his fucking hardest. And after this, we see Hagita ask Azu to hang out with him for a little bit before going home, like after school. And then it's Kakeru and Naho, like, walking to the doors together. And he asks her why she always walks so slow, right? Because she really does. She's always a few steps behind everyone else that she's following. And some people just walk slow, I get it, but she kind of does it in a creepy way.
Kakeru's like, speed it up.
Yeah, come on and walk on the side of me. I think he asked this question for what's about to happen. So she ends up tripping and he catches her. And after this is one of the big parts of the episode. He puts his hand out towards her, you know, to like have her put her hand back in his so they could hold hands. And she looks at it and she goes, what is it? And he goes, nothing. nothing, I guess, and then he walks away. So I think that's why he was asking why she walks so slow, because he wants her to walk on the side of him so they can hold hands. See? We get a hard cut back right here. Cuts back to Hagita and Azu hanging out after school. He's still practicing his running, and he's still trash. After Azu asks why he wanted to be there, he finally says, well, there is a reason, but then it cuts away. So right here in my head, I pretty much knew he had a letter and he was going to tell her. I had a weird gut feeling, and my gut feeling was definitely right. But I don't understand why he was like, I wanted to talk about it only with you. Like, why specifically her?
Yeah, why not tell, like, Suwa, of all people?
Yeah, go to your homie first. I'm not saying that, like, you can't talk to a chick about that stuff, but he seems to be a little bit closer to Suwa. Why wouldn't he just hit him up and be like, bro, freaky shit is happening? So then Naho goes home and she's, like, reflecting on what the hand thing was. And then the next day she asks Kakeru if he wants to walk to the doors together, you know, do the same thing they did the day before. And again, on the stairs, he puts his hand out and she goes, what's wrong? And she doesn't get it. Like, she's so confused by this hand gesture, and he goes, nothing. And he walks away again.
Again?
Dude, at this point, I'm just like, what is this chick, dumb or something? Hold my fucking hand. And then Suwa comes up from behind her on the stairwell, and he asks if she's okay. And he mentions that she doesn't have to only rely on the letter. She can also rely on her friends. And then the rest of the gang walks up, kind of like from up the stairs, they come down towards them. And he says, let them help you. And again, I'm like, dude, they all have letters at this point, because why is he being so pushy, and why is he saying you don't have to think about just the letter, let your friends help you? This was kind of like his subtle way to say, you dumb bitch, we all have letters, okay? And then they go up on the roof, and then they're like legit shit talking Kakeru for a second. They're like, why wouldn't he just use real words if he wants to hold hands instead of just putting it out like a creep? And she winds up...
Suwa was like, yeah, I would have used words instead of a gesture.
Like, bro, they just go up on the roof to have a quick little shit-talking session.
God damn, this guy is on the verge of doing suicide. Holy shit.
They're like, what a pussy. He can't use his words.
He caught wind of that, and then...
he hears them on... He's, like, also up on top of the building, and he hears them. He just jumps off in front of them.
Superman!
Oh, remember when he said he wished he could fly out the window?
He's gonna pull a Soldier Boy. Superman, I'm in you! Splat.
And, like, the rooftop scene is also a big part of the episode, because she finally tells them all about the letter, and then they're all just like, yeah, they all whip out their letters, like, yeah, we've been had letters too. And then it comes clean about why Hagita wanted to hang out with Azu, because that's what he was telling her about, and they all kind of like put their hands in, and they're like, we're saving Kakeru. And that's literally the end of the episode. Credit roll. Not a bad episode, just not like super high action. Like I said, just setting up really for the finale.
Yeah, and this is where book 1 ended. Like, if you got into big book collection, I forgot what it's like, book 1, that's from start to right where episode 8, I want to say, right?
Yeah, this is episode 8 that we're reviewing.
Yeah, from 1 to 8, that's book 1.
God dang, dude, how many books are there? 3?
2.
Okay, so the rest of it happens in 5 episodes, which means these have to be some pretty jam-packed episodes.
Ooh, and the last episode is going to be longer.
Yeah, the last episode's apparently like, what, 40 minutes?
No, 32, I want to say?
32, okay. That's pretty good, I guess.
We didn't get nothing about the future.
No, they didn't have any, like, future flash forwards or anything.
The only future scene that we seen was, like, whenever they put their hands together and see the image of the future self. And then the ending was different.
Again, this is my thing. Everybody needs to take their fucking letters and just show the guy. Kakeru, if you don't fucking start acting right, you're gonna kill yourself. How do I know? I have a letter from my future self.
Kakeru would have been like, what the fuck?
He's like, yeah, guys.
Is that some kind of prank?
He's like, he goes, I have a letter from my future self also, from right before I killed myself. Y'all never had to do any of this. Bro, how fucked up would that be? He writes a suicide letter to his to his self, sends it back, and he's like, look, just don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. But I'm going to do it here in this multi-universe.
That's fucked up.
Overall, I think I'd give this episode a 6 out of 10.
I'd give it a 7.
wasn't incredible, but it held enough water to make me go, cool. Now I can see a little bit more action getting ready to roll in these next 5 episodes because now the whole gang is involved.
Mine would have been 6 out of 10, but since the bitch wasn't in there, it gets a
Oh,
plus
true. Well, mine would have been a 5, but since she wasn't in, I'll give it a 6. Because remember, we talked about this. We said that Azu, Takako, and Hagita really weren't getting enough screen time as like main characters, but now that they have letters, I think we're going to start seeing them highly involved.
Yes.
And that'll flush them out a good bit, which is kind of nice.
I can't wait to see how the anime turns out. I wonder if it's going to be different from the manga or like it's going to actually show.
Is it currently like really on par with the book?
Yeah, it's been on par with the book.
So it'd probably be the same thing.
Yeah. What they probably going to do is add a little extra towards the end.
But I mean, shit, it took 8 episodes to do book 1, and you're telling me book 2 is going to be done in 5?
Yeah, because like 3/4 of the book was orange, and then like the rest was like, I believe, another manga he did.
Oh, okay.
Something like that.
That's why the motherfucker was so expensive.
I enjoyed reading it.
It's okay. I don't think I'd want to read it, though. I'm stuck on Parallel Paradise.
Oh my god.
If you guys want some official Animag recommendations, it's Parallel Paradise.
No.
Old Sid put me on that. It's actually really good, dude. The story is really good. Just, I mean, it's a weird fucking story, and I guess, I don't know if that would be classified as a hentai. I think so.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. They show some boobs, and then I think he like ate a chick out or something.
Yeah, that's hentai.
Oh, never mind. He does smash because a couple of them have the black rings on their neck. Just read it, then you'll understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's hentai. Harem is like whenever they just show boobs, and that's about it.
I mean, I don't think they show any like wieners or puss or anything, but they showed
smash.
Yeah, but like they don't show it. I don't know. Just check it out if you get a chance. You'll like it. I'll rate that probably a 9 out of 10. It's up there. Also, before we go, man, I started working on Animag Radio. If you haven't already seen it at the bottom of the page, so scroll all the way down. There's a little music player. Click play and enjoy. Play some pretty good shit all day. We got a couple haters like Yazay hating on the music choice, but
well, when me and you listened to it earlier,
yeah,
it was playing good music.
It's a fucking radio station. What radio station do you know that you could get in your car?
Good music
all day,
from start to finish.
You're gonna have bad songs or just songs that you don't like play, but just cause like you don't like it doesn't mean someone else doesn't like it. So far we've had an average of like 30 listeners pretty much at all times on there, so fuck it, it's good. And I'm trying to do another page where it's just a player, maybe like a chat room where we could hang out if you just get bored, but I might actually end up scratching the chat room and it's just a player. I don't know yet, just tinkering with those ideas. And then there's also a potential secondary podcast coming to Animag, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Got a lot of work to do there.
So is there any anime that you are watching on the side, or are you just watching Orange?
I had started one, I think it's called How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend.
Never heard of that.
I think I'm like 2 episodes in it. It's kind of interesting, but also not really moving too fast. Kind of slow like Orange, so I'm thinking maybe on the back end is what a lot of these animes fucking do.
How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it's called. I think essentially the plot's like he's trying to build a video game and like he's not really that cool of a person, but his 2 chick friends are like really popular girls in school. And there's this one chick who he thinks is perfect and he wants to model the main character of the game around her. That's about as much as I've gathered so far. I've only watched a couple episodes, but it seems okay.
In Japan, it's called Seine Hyorin no Sara Tekata, and like the short form is Seikano.
I don't know. It's just fucking called How to Raise a Boring Girlfriend in American. I don't fucking know.
What I've been watching is like I've been trying to catch up on One Piece, which I'm on like episode 611, and then I'm also watching Love After World Domination, which is the one with the Power Rangers and the Red Ranger falls in love with like one of the commanders of the evil villain, and
what
they're
is
trying
this,
to hide
actual
there.
Power Rangers?
It reminds me of freaking Power Rangers.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant it was some kind of like fanfic with the Power Rangers.
There's a Red Ranger, there's a Blue Ranger, there's a Pink Ranger, there's a Yellow Ranger, which is pretty hot.
Oh yeah, great value Power
Green
Rangers.
Ranger.
100%.
Yeah, and all their shit is based off of fruit, and I think the Blue Ranger, his is a soda.
They should have made him fat, so everyone else is into fruits and he's just into soda. That's why he's chunky. Well, so that pretty much wraps up episode 8 of Orange for us. A pretty bland show episode. I mean, we got to 30 minutes on the podcast, and that's good enough for us. That's perfect, actually. I didn't think we'd have that much to talk about, but the way we do it, how we kind of outline the show and then talk about it while we're outlining, tends to work. Tends to get us to 30. Now, I'm not saying we won't be pulling some 40, 50-minute episodes for Rent a Girlfriend, but, you know, there could be a lot to talk about when this show starts.
I know when Rent a Girlfriend comes out, you're going to be talking your ass off.
Bro, if I'm watching each episode like 6 times before we podcast. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Stay tuned next week when we really start to dive into the backside of this show. We're going 5 episodes left, man. We are almost done.
And then it's Rent a Girlfriend.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have like a couple of, maybe 1 or 2 weeks off. I want to say 1 week off before Rent a Girlfriend starts. On the pace that this is getting uploaded, we'll probably be done with Orange before that, and then it's just waiting for the uploads to happen, because we are ahead.
Yeah, we are ahead, so if you see us not like reading your comments or mentioning your comments, well, that's the reason why.
Yeah,
we just wanted to do this just in case.
A buffer, just in case. You never know. Some shit happens, but we still have the fucking episode for an upload. Also, before we go, remember to click that link down below and drink some more, baby. Helping the podcast helps you as a listener, because we're going to take everything we get and put it back into the podcast. And until then, we will see you guys next week. Everybody have a good day, and so long, everybody.
Sayonara.
Thank you for listening. Be sure to visit our website at www.animag.org. See you next time.